All right. All right, guys. Welcome everyone to our weekly team huddle Zoom. I'm so excited to be with you guys this evening. Um, we do this every single week. Okay, so if this is one of your first nights on, I know we have a lot of newbies on our team right now. I just want to say welcome. And for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Ashley Walmer, and I am a triple diamond. I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I've been in the business for about 2.5 years. So I have the privilege of having one of your diamond leaders on with us tonight, Melissa Williams. Are you there, Mel?
Yes, I am.
Yay, awesome. Okay, sounds good. Well, we are going to get right into it tonight. As you guys know, we are going to talk a little bit about your why in this business and how to write your story. And so I thought it would just be awesome if Mel and I both start with just like our why. So I hope you guys each have like a pad of paper and some notes with you tonight, because one of the things that we're going to be doing is I really want you guys, this Zoom is going to kind of be like a working Zoom. It's going to be about you. And so as you hear Mel and I talk tonight, as it's triggering things about you and your family and why you got started, I would like you to just go ahead and write those things down on a piece of paper, okay? So like I said, I really want this to be about you and you guys, okay? So my why and why I got started in this business, some of you guys know parts of this story, is my husband and I were both, Mike and I were both married before and divorced. And so I have a son from my previous marriage, and he has a son and a daughter from his previous marriage. And when I met, I was living at home with my mom. I had just gone through a divorce. I was struggling just financially. What I was making was just barely enough to get by. And then when I met Mike, and I don't know if any of you guys are on here are single moms or divorced or anything like that, but when you go through a divorce, it's just really hard on your finances. And so you take two people that have just gone through a divorce and smash them together, and that's me and Mike. So we were just at a point where like we needed extra money. His job, he used to own an IT company, was going really, really well for him. The business was thriving, growing, but at the end of the day, because we owned that business, we had to keep pouring back into it. When the company grew, we had to hire more employees. And so honestly, we were just racking up a lot of credit card debt. You know, like all of our bills from month to month were getting paid. But like, I remember having to go to the dentist. I need a root canal. And we're like, well, we don't have $1,000. Like that's going on a credit card. I needed tires for my car, and that was going on a credit card. Like everything that would come up was going on a credit card. And so we were just kind of getting to the point where like something did have to change. And so that's why I got started, and it works. Okay. So those are all the reasons that led me to saying yes to this business, which I think are really powerful. But then once you get in, and once you're like, okay, I said yes to this business, now you have to think about like, why am I doing this? Like, and what do I want out of it? Right. And so a few things for me where I wanted to bring Mike home, or at least give him the opportunity to do something different. When you own a job, I think a lot of people look at that as like being very prestigious. But you guys, some weeks he was working like 80 hours a week, and there were people that he was employing that were making more money than him because they brought them on at salary. And Mike had a bigger education knowledge, and he could be making that same money if he worked for somebody else instead of owning the company. Like that's a crazy thought, right? So I thought, man, if I could just make enough money to bring him home, for him to at least have the freedom of choice to be able to do what he wants, to pursue what he wants, stay home, that would be amazing. If we could just make a little, like in the very beginning, it was an extra $500 a month just to kind of make ends meet. And then it just got to the point where I was like, you guys, I want to live life. Like I want to experience things. I want to be able to go to Target and not have to like freak out if I buy like a cute little "you had me at pumpkin spice" shirt, you know? So things like that, I wanted to be able to have that freedom. And It Works was the vehicle for me anyways. And I was like, man, if I could do that, that would be so awesome. So since we've gotten some of those things, I don't know if some of you guys know this or not, but I was able to retire him at our year mark in the business. We were able to pay cash for our BMW. We got a hot tub and paid cash for that, and just have been able to experience a lot of things over the last 2 years because of It Works. His Works has paid for all of our fun that we've been able to have. And so now I'm at the point where I'm kind of redreaming. I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm like, okay, now what's next? What does this look like now? And that's kind of where I'm at. And you guys will get there too. You'll hit your goal. If your goal is $500 a month on Ruby, you'll get there, and you'll have to figure out, and you'll have to stretch yourself a little bit further to think, okay, now what do I want out of this business? So that is a little bit about me and my why. Mel, I would love for you to introduce yourself and kind of tell them a little bit about your why too.
Yeah, I would love to. I'm actually just going to read mine because I feel like it's just easier to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to go off on a tangent, and I don't want to steal all the time tonight. I don't know. Will this like pause on my face when I leave the app?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's play that game?
Okay. Is it paused?
It just shows your face. It doesn't show live, but you're fine.
Okay. So let me just read it. My story is a little bit different than Ashley. I guess I'll just give you a little background before I go read it. But I am not married. I don't have any kids. My boyfriend and I live together. We're not planning a wedding, hopefully sometime soon. Nudge, nudge. But anyway. And so my story is a little bit different about why I joined this business. And I'm just going to read through something that I would post on social media and then maybe give you guys a little bit more detail. So this is what I wrote. When I found It Works, I had just lost my paralegal job and was working part-time as a fitness instructor. I was struggling to make ends meet and putting basic things like gas, groceries, and bills on a credit card. I hated that I was going further into debt. I joined in March of 2016, and 3.5 weeks later, I promoted to Ruby and earned a $1,000 bonus. Fast forward to August, and I double promoted to Emerald and Diamond, where I earned a $5,000 bonus. In just 6 months, I had matched my income from my fitness job. Now I'm able to pay off that same credit card while also putting money into a savings account. I can splurge on things like getting my nails done or buying that cute shirt at the mall and not feel guilty. I don't have to check my bank account every time I make a purchase. I can breathe again thanks to It Works. I'm not even close to being done yet. In fact, my team and I are just getting started. And so I think that obviously, like, I could go into way more depth about, It Works and what it's done for me. And I think at the end of the day, like, it's just super important to find a why. And it can be as simple as, putting gas and groceries on credit cards. I mean, how many people relate to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when I fill my car up, it's like $56, and when it was $4 a gallon, it was like $85. And so I just I couldn't do it. And, my friends are all like, I guess, more adulting than I am and, make a lot more money than me. And they wanted to go on a trip and I really wanted to go. And so I went and we made it work, but, I'm still paying for that trip. And that's okay. Like, now I'm at a point with my income from It Works that I don't have to put things on a credit card. So now I can make payments on that same credit card. I have 3 total. 2 of them are paid off. So I'm working on 1 more. Then I have a little bit of student loan debt, but I'm able now to put more in my student loan debt than just the minimum, and that feels really good. So, and like Ashley said, playing off that, she retired her husband and, works from home. And so she got a BMW and a hot tub and paid cash, and those were her goals, and she reached those goals, and that's amazing. But you guys, your why doesn't have to stop. Like, it is ever evolving every single day. Every 6 months you go through a life change as a person. That could be losing your job, getting a new job, getting a promotion, having a child. I mean, a girl on my team, Shannon, just had a little baby. Now she's got 2. That's a major life change. So your why changes all the time. Like, you don't have to just stick with one thing. It could be different today than it was when you started 6 months ago. So don't get stuck on just one thing. Be vulnerable and pour your heart out to people because they relate to you on that level.
Yeah. Amen. And I know, Mel, you and I have had so many different conversations too of just like when you first started, you're like, I've struggled with my why because I didn't necessarily have the same background as somebody who, like me, who was a single mom who has struggled, your parents have been blessed enough to been able to help you out here and there as you go through life. But I think one thing that I love about Mel's story and Mel's why is it's about her, and it should be about you. If you're married, it should be about your family. It should be about your kids. If you're single, it should be about you, right? That's the thing that makes you do this business. And so don't feel like just because you don't have somebody else's struggle, that you don't have just as important enough as a why to do this business. Or just because you don't have somebody else's story, it doesn't give you something that like drives you, right? So just tap really deep into what that is. So a couple of things, like you'll hear people say like your why should make you cry, right? Like your why should be so big and you should dig down so deep that when you think about it, like it makes you cry. And I just know Mel, for example, I know she probably would be like, well, my why has never made me cry. Okay, Mel, I want you to think about working for Kirsten for the rest of your life. Till you're 70. And
now that would make me cry, because it has a few times.
Exactly. If you had to work for somebody 50 hours a week like Kirsten, that you couldn't have Saturdays off and you had, no time freedom, like those would be things to make you cry, right? Like, so when you dig so down deep into like why you want to do this business. So give you guys a little bit of background. Mel's boss isn't the best, most perfect, awesome person to work for, right? But who is? And I'm sure some of you guys have all had bosses like that, right? And part of her why is just to be able to own her time and to tell herself when she wants to do stuff and where she wants to go. And that is huge. That is a big part of what my why is too. And that should drive you. So when your why is big enough, like you guys don't make excuses for your business, right? So if you're like, man, I need to send messages today. Okay, you need to look yourself in the mirror and say to yourself, do I want to send messages or do I want to work for Kirsten for the rest of my life? That's Mel's example, okay? Do I want to send messages or do I want to be in debt for the rest of my life? Do I want to post on Facebook, even though it might be a scary thing? Or do I want XYZ? And you guys fill in those blanks. So this is part of why when Mel said like your why is so important is you need to dig down deep into what those things are, because you guys, this business is real, right? It's real life. You're working with people. It's not butterflies and rainbows and fanciness all the time. It's a lot of fun. But there are days where, because we do work with people, that it's not always rainbows and butterflies. And you get to choose your heart. And I will never forget the lesson that I learned at conference. And this is why you guys go to conference, is because it's not just about the speakers on stage and what they're talking about. It's the people that you meet. And I was in a hallway talking to a couple whose husband was in like construction or something, and she had like a normal job, and she was like, we all have to work for money, right? Like there's not just a money fairy that like sprinkles like over us and we get to just be like, oh, and revel in all the money and get to do with what we want. No, it doesn't happen, right? We have to go work for income and for money. And so you get a choice. We all get a choice. And this is what we have to offer people, is we get to go to work and work for money, or we get to work for ourselves and it works and make our money ourselves, right? At some point, it's going to be hard. Some days are going to be awesome. Some days are going to be hard. But I choose this hard any day of the week than choosing a hard of going to work for somebody else. I am like unemployable. You guys, I have been a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom for too long. I am unemployable. Nobody can hire me. I am worth way too much. So you guys need to get yourself wrapped around that too, okay? So let's see. Choose your hard. What else did I say? Oh, one thing, I don't know if you guys know who Field Development Regional Katrina Ferguson is, but she said something to me a while ago, and I heard it on stage a couple times, where she said, when you know your why, the how of this business figures itself out. And what she means by that is, if you're sitting here going, okay, I want to go Ruby, but how do I go Ruby? I want to get there, but how am I going to message people? That's when, if your why is so big, it drives you. You don't care how. You just go get your butt to work and go get it done and figure it out, because your why is so big that the how does figure itself out. And I just love that part. So, okay, I'm going to give you guys an activity, and I want you to think of these things. I have this little activity saved on my phone. All right. So I want you to, this is going to just help you start to think about your why. And like Mel said, it's going to evolve. And over time, you're going to add to it, and you're going to keep redreaming, okay? So I want you to write down 30 things that you want to have, 30 things that you want to be, and 30 things that you want to do, okay? So 30 things that you want to have, that you want to be, and you want to do. And then think about them in the categories of your health, of your family, of maybe work or your career, and your hobbies. Okay, so those 4 categories. And for me, some of the things that I want to be is present, okay? Patient. I want to be a loving mom. I want to be an ambassador. Right? So some of those things are things that I can actually like wrap my head around. I can actually be that person. But other things are more like spiritual things, like about my heart attitude and about who I am. Okay? So obviously after we get off the Zoom tonight, I want you guys to keep evolving this list. Obviously, we only are on here for half an hour, so I'm not going to sit here and give you guys 15 minutes to do this activity, but it is something that I really want you guys to do. And once you do it, I would love to see a screenshot of what those things are. Mel, did you have anything that you wanted to add about your why before we talk to them a little bit about how to write their story?
Let me look at it really quick. No, not really. I mean, nothing like specific that jumps out at me. I mean, like you said, like, you know, your why is so important to you. And I think a lot of times in this business, we get on the compare train and compare ourselves to people. Like, well, all the time I'll go down a rabbit hole on like Instagram or Facebook following like a triple diamond or ambassador or something and be like, you know, why am I not there yet? Why don't I sign 10 distributors a month? Why, you know, all these things. And like, at the end of the day, you just have to remember that like, it's your journey and it's going to happen to you in the amount of time that it's supposed to. And God has laid out a plan for all of you. And you have to keep that like front and center, you know, when you're doing this business, and just, I guess, stay focused, like put those blinders on, you know, side of your face, and just like look forward. Don't look side to side, just look forward. And, you know, do this business the way that it fits you, what's best for you. Don't try to, you know, copy everyone else. Like if something's working for you, just stick with that, because your time will come. And I tell Ashley this all the time. Do you guys know that little picture of the 2 guys, one's on top, one's on the bottom, and they're both digging in the dirt, and on the other side of the dirt there's like a diamond? Okay, and in one of the pictures the guy's like walking away, and the other picture the guy's like right there, and they're both literally like inches from like hitting that diamond, and the one guy just gave up and walked away. Like every time I want to give up, I think of that stupid picture, because I'm like, my diamond is literally inches away. And not, you know, diamond so to speak, but like my double diamond, my triple, my presidential, my ambassador, just like my dreams, my future, you know, traveling the world, like things that I want to do for my life. And so think of that little picture when you want to give up, when you don't want to send those messages, when you want to put your phone away, you know, when you don't want to go to that wrap party, when you don't want to find a way to get to conference. Like think about that little picture, because you're so close to your breakthrough, like you have no idea.
Yes, amen. I love that visual. It's awesome. Next time you find it, will you save it to your phone and send it to me?
Yeah, I'll post it in the team page, because then none of you will get out of your head.
Right,
stuck
exactly. There. Awesome. Okay, so part of what we're doing tonight is teaching you guys a little bit about digging deep and kind of like uncovering your why. But the next part is I want you guys to be able to write your story, okay? And your story isn't necessarily your why, so to speak. Your story is a little bit about you. It's where you were before this business, where you are now, and where you're going, okay? And a really awesome thing that social media does is it lets people follow us. It lets people kind of go on this journey with us, right? But if all you're ever doing is posting pictures of greens and wraps and black, green, and bling stuff, all you're doing is you're advertising for it works. And you're not inviting anybody into your story. And so it's super important to make sure that you guys put that out there. Sorry, I just saw something come up in the chat. Okay. So, we're going to read some examples of some different stories that you guys can start to kind of write for yourself. And Mel's going to talk to you guys a little bit about like when to post it and how I'll give you some tips there. But, when you're writing your story, the whole part of your story should be 3 different things. It's where were you before it works? Okay. That's talking about your struggles. Okay, what struggles did you have? And if you're like, man, life was pretty awesome, think of something, okay? Whether it was, I didn't have that extra money to go shopping all the time or whatever, but most people cannot come up with struggles. Whether it was, I couldn't ever fill my gas tank up. When I was grocery shopping, I've heard Double Diamond Kristen John, she say this all the time, like used to be when she was grocery shopping, when she got to the end of the line, she'd have to like put stuff back because she couldn't afford it all, right? So when I was a stay-at-home or when I was a single mom, like I was struggling for income hardcore, and I had to like budget everything out. And my Christmas budget that year for my brother was like $10. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm the worst sister in the world, right? Like, so those are things. So where were you before it works? And then where are you now because of it works? Okay. So maybe you're thinking, man, I've just been in for 2 days. And you're like, I don't, have you met anybody? Has somebody inspired you? Have you maybe made a friend? Have you tried the greens and absolutely loved it? Think about, just those few couple wins when you first got started. Right now you just first got started, like think of those things that have been a good blessing in your life since you said yes to it works. Okay. Maybe you've been more driven. And then where you're going with it. And this is a big, big thing, you guys. Put out there all the time where you're going, what you're doing. Put it out there, because when you achieve it, that's when people are going to join you. Okay. Mel's saying she has this one last credit card that she needs to, pay off. If she put that out there almost every single time that she posted, how many people the day that she gets to post that she like paid it off are going to like congratulate her and freak out because they've been watching her say, I'm going to pay this off. 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 Bam, she paid it off. Okay. And they're going to be sitting there thinking like, oh, I didn't think she could do it. Some of them are like, I knew you could do it. Right. But either way, there's going to be people that join her because she was a person that had consistent effort and she put it out there and she actually did what she said she was going to do. And that is super, super inspiring to other people. So Mel, can you talk to them a little bit about like maybe how to post and when to post your stories? And then we'll kind of read some examples.
Yeah. So I've been posting my story like basically like one day. I don't think you really post any more than that because you should be actively posting the rest of the days. Good times to post are obviously like in the morning before work, on your lunch hour, and then at night. And honestly, I think if you're going to post your story, maybe even like Sunday night at like 10 o'clock because people are like dreading going to work. And I feel like they're probably most vulnerable thinking like, oh, here's this girl posting her story about how, it works, has given her X, Y, and Z, whatever that is for you. And now I have to get up in the morning and go to a job that I hate. You don't have to post it on a Sunday night. That's just an example. Any night of the week, I'm sure would be fine. But I think people are most active right before bed, probably between like, what would you say, Ash, like 8 to 10, 8
Yep.
to 11 o'clock at night?
Mm-hmm, for sure. 8 to 11, I would think.
Okay. Yeah. And then I forgot what you asked me to talk about.
Oh no, you're totally fine. So I think the other thing too, you guys, is like when you're posting your story, make sure like you put a picture of yourself, like do like a selfie with your story or like a picture of your family with your story. And it doesn't always have to be the same thing. And so, like I said tonight, I really just kind of want you guys, I hope that you're taking notes about your own self story, okay? Your own struggles. Where were you before it works? Where are you now because of it works? And where are you going? So we're going to read a couple of these, all right? A couple of these good ones. Mel, they're in that group chat thing. Okay, so I'll read the first one. Do you want to read the next one? So
yeah,
this one's about a tank of gas, okay? So like next time you're out getting it at the gas station or whatever, take a selfie with your gas station. Take a picture of your car putting gas in your car, okay? So 2 years ago, I struggled and I was stressed out. I was stressed to be able to afford a full tank of gas. Okay, that's where you were before it works. I used to be that person that just used to put $5 in just to make it through the week. Now, I don't have to worry about that, and I can enjoy being able to put in a full tank of gas and be stress-free and not have to freak out about how I'm going to pay for this. And I can't wait to pay it forward and someday be able to pay for somebody else's gas. You don't even have to put that last part in there. But do you guys hear how this example was talking about where the person was before it works? And now because of it works, they're able to put in a full tank of gas. Okay, stuff like that. It doesn't have to be the same thing. So the other thing that I want you guys thinking about is come up with your story and your why. Okay. And I'm going to be posting a bunch of these on the team page of some of your leaders, some of their stories that you can kind of pull from and take for examples. But the other thing that I want you guys to be able to do is write down all of your struggles. And then think of how you can turn that struggle into a post or that struggle into, a little mini story about something. All right. Mel, do you want to read the next one about like the groceries?
Yeah. You're in the leader roundtable, right?
The October 9th Team Huddle one. Do you have that note?
Oh, I didn't know you put them in there. Sorry. I was going into like the whatchamacallit. All right, here we go. Okay. Example. Okay. This one has emojis in it, which is another good way to like break up words because people don't like to read long things. But okay, it says, gosh, this buggy/cart full of groceries makes me so emotional. I remember not even 3 years ago, I could afford anything except tuna, soup, hamburger helper, and whatever was on sale or what I had a coupon for. Almost every time I got to the register, I'd have to put something back because I miscalculated by a few dollars. I was so strapped that half the time groceries ended up going on an almost maxed out credit card anyway. I struggled really bad as a college student to afford groceries, even while working 2 jobs. That's why I joined It Works. Now I can walk in the store like I did today, buy healthy foods, organic brands, look for sales, but not stress out when there aren't any, and get the foods that I like, not just what I can afford. And spend over $150 on food and splurge on candles. Yeah, girl. And not even feel stressed. I threw that yeah, girl in there because candles. Goodness, I can't even explain how freeing it is to know that I paid cash for all of this. I didn't have to borrow or go into debt, and now I can give back even more to those in need or to different organizations because I'm not spending every last dollar paying off credit cards or using it to buy gas. It Works has given me options, and Jesus has always provided. He is so good no matter what my bank account looks like, but I'm thankful for the wiggle room and being able to live stress-free for a change. Now, you guys, when you're posting something like that, like take a picture of your grocery cart that week. Or if you have like a Blitz card in your hand, put a Blitz card in front of your grocery cart and then take a picture of your hand holding the Blitz. Sorry, I'm like holding it, but I'm just making it closer to my face. With a Blitz card, like over the grocery cart, post that picture. Like your pictures should not be black, green, bling, It Works, blah, blah, blah. Like make them about you. This is your life and your story and your journey and what this business is doing for you. And if it's paying for groceries, be freaking honest. Like, there are so many people in the world that need an extra $100 a week just to pay for their groceries. Like, I already mentioned groceries. Ashley mentioned groceries. I just read a story about groceries. Like, groceries are a human basic need. We're not talking about going to the store and buying that new pair of Nikes or Lululemon, like leggings. Those are wants. Those are things you want later after you get your groceries paid for, right? Like, it's so simple. Like your posts, you have to make them about you, real life, raw.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing, you guys, that this activity is going to also do is it's going to help you be able to not just post about your business, but talk about your business. When you figure out your why and you're able to write it down, when somebody's, next to you in the elevator and you're like, it works, what's it works? You can talk to them and they can say, well, why'd you start that? Well, I got started because I just needed an extra $100 a month to be able to afford groceries, so I didn't have to put it on my credit cards. Like, people can relate to that. So doing some of these things, you guys, it might seem like, oh, this isn't a very income producing activity, but it is, and it will be. It will bring people to you, okay? I'm going to read one more, and then we're going to be done for the night, and then I'm going to put this recording up. But what I will do is I will make a post in our team page as soon as we're done with this with stories from your leaders, okay, of their stories, so you can kind of see examples of how they're writing their stories, and you can kind of model yours after that, okay? All right, so here's the last one. I joined at Works for $100 a month. You guys, not $2,000, not $10,000, $100 a month, okay? That's it. I was 20 years old. I was working a full-time job and a part-time job and going to school full-time. I had zero time and zero money. You're sitting here reading this post and wishing you could do what I do, but you say to yourself you don't have enough time, but you're reading this post. That means you do have time, or you're thinking you don't because it takes $99. Okay? So she kind of then goes on to talk a little bit about that and then brings it back to I never actually believed I could make $100 a month with this side gig. I made more than my entire goal in my first 2 weeks of this business. In the first 3 months, I was able to buy a plane ticket to go home and see my family for Christmas. I was able to replace my part-time income, and I was able to make wrap cash every single week to fill up my gas tank. This business was life-changing from the very beginning, and now I'm making 6 figures a year. Okay, so she didn't start with how much money she's making. 6 figures a year is like a triple or a presidential, right? That's how much we make. But we don't start talking like that in posts because people can't wrap their brains around that. But what they can wrap their brains around is stuff that they can relate to. Getting started for an extra $100, $200, $300 a month. Do you guys know that, what did they say a couple years ago? The average person could have helped not going into bankruptcy if they just had an additional $300 to $500 a month. They wouldn't have had to file. We have a solution for that. And here's the other thing. Those of you guys that know me and that get to be around me, that live close to me, you hear me say all the time, we have a gift. We have something that we get to share with people, whether it's these products that can help them with some sort of health goal, or it's this business opportunity that can help them with an income goal, right? And I feel selfish if I don't talk to people about it. All right? I want you guys to start feeling that way. I want you to start feeling like you have such this amazing gift that you get to share with people. And part of that is your story. Okay? People are going to join you because it's you. People are going to join you because they know, like, and trust you. And if you don't put it out there, they don't know, and they don't feel like it's real and it's genuine. They need to see what kind of, solution we have, and they're not going to see it until you tap into your why, and that why just doesn't, oh yeah, I need this or I want that, but it really, is in your heart. And then you're able to start talking about your story and talking about why you got started with this business. So any last things, Mel, that you wanted to say?
No, I don't think so. I'll post that image. I found it.
Awesome.
When you post this recording, I'll post it in the comments so everyone can see it.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. I'm looking through the chat right now, looking at your points, you guys. So if I see more than 37 people post their posts or post their points, we'll know they're cheating. All right, guys. I'm going to go